In my chat, Jesus on Homosexuals, I called on Christians to actually find out what Jesus actually thought and said, and then try and live their lives by that. I suggested they seek out all sources on Jesus' life, and I mentioned certain apocryphal gospels like Thomas. I should also add that Christians should seek out different translations of different biblical texts, and that includes studying the oldest texts in the original languages. I think that's the duty of the Christian. Further to this, I said that Christians, true Christians, should be followers of what Jesus said, did, taught, and should disregard the rest of the Bible, or at least, at the very least, disregard the rest of the Bible where it contradicts what Jesus said. For example, the eye for an eye thing in the Old Testament, but Jesus when he says turn the other cheek. In this chat, I won't have time to examine all sources of information and discern what Jesus really taught. I mean, that is well beyond the scope of a YouTube video. What I'm going to do, though, is mention some of Jesus' teachings. Now, we all know the good stuff like Matthew 5, 7 and 9, blessed are the merciful and blessed are the peacemakers, or Matthew 7:1, judge not, or Matthew 19:18, when Jesus is asked which of the 10 commandments should be followed, he says, thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, honour thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself. But note, Jesus doesn't mention a commandment about God being jealous and damning descendants to the 3rd and 4th generations. So, However, lots of people, Christians and non-Christians, think Jesus was the perfect human being, or if not, that he was certainly an incredibly good moral leader. Completely relevant to today. And these people oddly gloss over the more unpleasant bits of Jesus' teachings, and that's what this chat is about. I mean, I'm not knocking Jesus, just trying to put him in context. If he existed, and these teachings that we have of his are accurate, then he was a moral man ahead of his time, no doubt. However, he was still full of a lot of crap, and he's certainly not what we consider moral by today's standards. I'm only going to use the first gospel, Matthew, or otherwise I'll be here all year, frankly. And this chat isn't meant to be comprehensive even. It's just a sampling of some of Jesus' dodgy teachings. Okay, 3:10. Therefore every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. 3:12. His fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor and gather his wheat into the garner, but he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. What happened to Christianity being about forgiveness? That's what I want to know. 5:17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. That's Jesus there. So, unless Jesus specifically contradicts something said in the Old Testament, it's still the law. I talked about this a bit in my Jesus on Homosexuals chat. Think about what it means, okay, particularly as far as the idea of gentle Jesus goes. 5:31. It hath been said, whoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. So, it's been said that if a man wants to divorce his wife, then he just needs to give her a writ to that effect. Fair enough. Although it doesn't say that a woman can do the same to a man. Perhaps Jesus straightens that out. Let's go on to 5:32. But I say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causeth her to commit adultery, and whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. Right. If women can't divorce their husbands, women can't divorce their husbands, but their husbands can divorce their wives. But it's worse than that. In fact, the only grounds for divorce is a woman's infidelity. What about if the woman's just a nasty piece of work? Or what if it's the man that commits the adultery? The woman can't put him away. Oh dearie me. 6:26. Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet their heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? Jesus seems to be implying humans are superior to birds, and perhaps other animals. To me, it's this kind of thinking which mucks the world up a lot, and it's the kind of thinking I know many Christians reject. Furthermore, God supposedly feeds the birds, but, nature's cruel, animals die left, right and centre. The other day I found a pigeon in the middle of the road, dead, it wasn't run over, it just fallen out of the tree, dead. I mean, it wasn't old or anything. I mean, it's not doing a good job of feeding them birds. 7:17 to 19. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. So if you do a bad deed, then you're an evil person, Furthermore, you'll be hewn down and cast into the fire. I think that's a bad philosophy. Maybe it's a 20th century thing, I don't know. But I think most people accept that everyone is capable of doing wicked deeds. And in fact, most everybody will, at one time or another, do a sinful thing. No one's perfect. People do bad things, but that doesn't make them bad people. But, is it helpful to characterise people in terms of being all good or all bad, and nothing in between, as Jesus does? I don't think that's helpful, and I don't think that's right. 7:13 to 14. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Sounds like we're all going to hell to me. Most people aren't bad or evil or wicked, but most people are going to hell in any case. Oh well. 8:5 to 10. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus saith unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldst come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard this, he marvelled, and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. Sounds good at first, right? This centurion's worried for his servant. However, Jesus commends a man who has servants, which, by the way, means slaves. A man who, a soldier who, when he says jump, his servants say how high. I mean, Jesus commends that man. 9:20 to 22. And behold, a woman, which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years, came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. For she said within herself, If I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. But Jesus turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, Daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. So, medicine's useless. All that's needed to cure you of blood diseases, and perhaps other things, is faith alone. Guess if you aren't cured, then the fault lies with you. Your faith, it just wasn't strong enough. Sorry.